Okay, I see the red indicator. So we are live. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Conscious Approach live streams. Another week is in the books as usual. My name is JV Wins, joined by my good boy Dogon SS to talk about another week's worth of trending topics on the Conscious Approach channel. Certainly appreciate everybody for tuning in as usual as we continue to grow the community, the channel. So before we get into this week's commentary, I always like to start off by saying that if you like the commentary in this video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button so that you can get the notification whenever we get new content that is posted to the channel. We certainly appreciate it. We enjoy doing this. We get a kick out of it. And we want everybody else to, watch the videos and kind of see where we're coming from and participate in the conversation and comment and all of that good stuff. So like the video, hit that like button, subscribe. We certainly appreciate it. We always want you to support logical content because we support logical content. And without further ado, now that we got those pleasantries out of the way, we are going to go ahead and get started. This was real funny. So this was funny. So this streetwalker, sex worker, porn star, whatever you want to call it, her name is Summer Isabella. And there's a clip that went viral this week in which she was walking around the streets of, it appears to be California, asking guys whether they would date a porn star. And so this particular clip got more attention than the rest of them because of this particular guy's response to her question. So this is sort of par for the course on this channel. We tend to talk about stuff like this on a regular basis, I would say. And so this clip is no different. Thought we would share it because I felt as though his response to her inquiry was interesting. And I think that it serves as a great example for what can happen if more men walk a principled life when it comes to how they approach women and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started. Go ahead and share this. This is some good stuff. Hopefully y'all enjoy it.
Hysterical.
Yeah, quite hysterical. Quite hysterical. So we are going to go ahead and react to this clip after we watch the whole thing. It's 60 seconds, so not too long, but very interesting stuff. So we'll go ahead and react to it once we finish listening to it or watching it.
My girl's not going to take dick from anybody else but me.
Even if she's paid?
Yeah, money doesn't run my life. Money's not good enough to give up my morals of you having dick and cum in your face and getting busted on and you're going to come home and kiss me and build a life with me? Nah.
Well, I'm a porn star and I haven't sold my soul, so.
And that's not really information for my life. I told you my opinion. I don't care if you're a porn star. Ain't a bitch bad enough?
So would you fuck me?
Like I said earlier, I would smash, but I would not date.
I'm a great girlfriend, though. You're kind of passing it up. Do you? A little side question.
You're not gonna be a great girlfriend when you're taking dick from those 5 guys.
So well, I don't do gangbangs. Number one, number two. So would you think that I wouldn't be able to come home and treat you right, cook you dinner? Those aren't qualities you would want in a girlfriend.
Well, I think I can find those qualities and for them to do something that I respect outside the home. Unfortunately, it's not about what you do in front of me; it's what you do behind me.
All right, so it's not about what you do in front of me, it's what you do behind me.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, she seemed serious when she said that when the part where she was like, I'd be a good girlfriend. I think she was serious when she said that.
She was.
Yeah. So it's obviously a lot of different ways that you can take this. I continue to be flabbergasted at the mentality of women like this, but I've also said that I don't think the progeniting behavior comes from the women themselves. So, did you have any initial thoughts on this particular clip?
Yeah, this is similar to stuff that I said before about people who live a whorish lifestyle. So this is an actual professional whore. And so she still feels as though she deserves what normal people have. All right. When you're dealing with sex workers, porn stars, or whatever alike, all right, they don't like sex. So they literally do it as a job. And so there is a level of compartmentalization where they just literally do it for the money. So they do have this thing within them where they go, well, yeah, I do that for work, but I still want something normal. And it's like, yeah, I understand you want something normal, but your job is not normal. So there's nobody that is normal that's going to co-sign you living an abnormal job. So yeah, they don't like sex. They have sex and they pop right back up, and as if nothing just happened. You know, did the Cash App go through? All right, I'm out of here. And so she definitely doesn't, you know, have any connections to anybody that she's having sex with. But it's just the principle of the matter of the type of work that you're choosing to do for a lifestyle. And so a sex worker can say, oh, well, well, it pays the bills, or blah, blah, blah. They can say whatever they want. The point is that you're choosing to do a low vibrational occupation. And so your occupation is one of the lowest vibrational occupations you can really have out there. So, and when I say low vibrational, I mean that how much intellect does it take you to get your job done? You know, besides laying on your back and opening your legs. It doesn't require any level of skill. It doesn't require any level of dignity. So for them to be doing this over and over and over again, and then try to turn around and to try to have somebody with class, with dignity, it doesn't correlate. So this guy here said, oh, I'll smash, meaning I'll engage in low vibrational behavior, but that is something that I'll do on the side. That's not something that I plan on having in my house 24/7. So initial thoughts for sure. How do you feel about this, sir? Because I got to be honest with you. That shock on her face shocked me that she was shocked at his response.
Yeah, it's the delusion. Yeah, there's so many, but see, that's the world that we live in today where we are trying to, I use the word circumvent a lot on this channel. This is another instance of that where you can see the way we can see the way that certain aspects of modern culture is trying to reinvent our perception of certain things, like whether you should perceive sex workers to be accorded dignity. Now, dignity from the standpoint of functional relationships, marriage, and family, not dignity in terms of should they be accorded humanity, because of course they should be accorded humanity. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Like, I don't think because you're a porn star that you should not be accorded basic human decency and humanity. But dignity from the standpoint that we are trying to reinvent these wheels and create this new world where escorts, porn stars, modern day sex workers, which I throw a lot of these Instagram models and people like that into that bucket as well. OnlyFans chicks, people who leverage their physical attractiveness for gains in life, which a lot of times that leverage physical attractiveness does boil down to a sexual exchange. It's evolved modern day prostitution. That's largely how I perceive it. And what we have is, because there's such an influx of individuals who are partaking in this kind of lifestyle because of the availability to get involved in it so easily, thanks to technology and social media and phones and all of that good stuff. Because there's such a large swath of people who are doing it, we're trying to create this new world, this new society, this new culture in which we are reinventing the wheel and trying to create a, in my opinion, false narrative that these individuals should be accorded the same kind of dignity that others who don't partake in that subset of American culture should be accorded. So that shock on her face when she just can't understand why a man would not want to be her boyfriend is a real thing, because she is ingratiated in this modern day, mentality, which is trying to pull a wool over all of our eyes and make us believe that porn stars should be given the same kind of dignity that a 4-year university major who graduated with a psychology degree who's working as a professor should get. And it's like, in the real world, that's just not going to happen. Like, you can continue to you can try to reinvent that wheel as much as possible. It's not going to happen. But you know, a part of the reason why she's also shocked is because, in all likelihood, she's probably run into many men who do accord her their brand of dignity. And so she believes that all men, and a lot of women make this error in judgment in which they apply this one size fits all type of outlook on life when it comes to men. And so they see certain men behaving in certain ways towards them. And so they apply it to all men, and they say, well, all men are like this or should be doing this. And that's not necessarily the case. Just because you run into certain guys who themselves probably ascribe to certain questionable aspects of life, are willing to accord you dignity despite what you do for a living, it doesn't mean that all men are going to do that. And so I think it's important for women like this to understand that distinction. And you're not going to just run into every guy who's going to look at you as a self-respecting human being if you are having sex for a living on camera for millions of people to download and consume on a regular basis. There's a large percentage of men who do believe that something like that is a sacred thing that is to be conducted within the confines of a relationship, and if not a relationship, then at the very least within a private context. And guys who view life that way are reticent to apply the same standard of dignity to chicks like this that other questionable guys would apply. But she's used to dealing with questionable guys. And so, you know me, I believe in life being a balancing act. If you are a porn star, if you are a sex worker, but you still somehow intrinsically believe that you want to be a family woman, then you need to seek that with men who do the same thing that you do, because that's what's most compatible. It's what makes the most sense. So if you're running around here taking all of the dicks in the world because you're a porn star, but you still somehow believe that you are a family woman, then go ahead and get you a relationship with a male porn star. That makes the most. Now, how functional is that going to be? That's for you to find out and for me to not care about. But nevertheless, that's your best bet. Walking around out here looking for corporate, professional, straight-laced guy to accept your way of life and want to be in a relationship with you is a pie-in-the-sky notion. In no world does that make sense. But we're caught up in this societal trend of trying to make things that otherwise don't make sense make sense. And this is one of those things that will never make sense. I don't care how hyper liberal we become, this is never going to make sense. So if you want to be in a relationship but you choose to do porn, get with a male porn star. If you are an escort and you still want to have a family or a relationship, go ahead and get into a relationship and get into a common law marriage with a male escort. Get with a male prostitute. Hell, marry a pimp. Get into a polygamous or polyamorous relationship with a guy who does porn or a guy who runs an escort service. But it is entirely impractical for you to seek that out with men of the daytime. In no world does that make sense. So that was my initial reaction with that. And I, kind of just say kudos to the guy who lives a principled existence, because more men out here need to live principled existences. And so credit to him, credit to others like him. I give him the thumbs up for those responses. I just hope that he actually practices what he preaches when he's not giving those responses in front of a camera.
I think he'll definitely smash, as he said, and I genuinely believe he wouldn't wife her. I would give this man the Gary Payton Award for Man of the Year, and he deserves a trophy for his soliloquy, because I couldn't have said it any better myself. And when I was growing up, man, and I had access to unsavory material when the internet came out. All right. I'm sitting here looking at these women and going, man, like, how do they find these women? Not because they look so good. Like, how do you find women who sign up to get done like this on camera? You know, what's going on with this? And in my back of my mind, I was like, there's gonna be a run out of stock on this. There's no way this can keep going. Like, you know, these women that I'm seeing, there's no woman that's gonna be growing up watching this and saying that I'm gonna do this myself. Boy, was I wrong. And so once I started seeing that people started making their own stuff and uploading it to these platforms, and it wasn't revenge porn, these people willfully did it. And I was like, hey, what are y'all doing? Like, don't you go to work? You know, don't you have kids? What if your kids' friends see this? Like, what's going on? I was experiencing cognitive dissonance. And what is going on now is, well, it's become so normalized for the adults. Now, see, here's the problem. See, now they're not even thinking about the children that are getting impacted. So now I'm sure there's a whole slew of people who are growing up, and yeah, everybody knows that, you know, my mom got smashed on that video. You know, that classic video that you just kept watching over and over again. You know, that's somebody's mom. And yeah, I know my mom did porn. And it's like, okay, what impact does that have on the son, the daughter? You know, what impact does that have over generations? And so it's yet to be seen. But I think the fruits of that is already happening right now with OnlyFans pages, BBLs, and other ridiculous low vibrational stuff that seems to be socially acceptable amongst the masses. So yeah, man, I really think that it's sad that we've gotten here as a society, but this is what's going on. And again, everybody wants some form of I say normality, and what I mean by normality, I mean balance. And when you're living a low vibrational lifestyle like that, it's so transactional, it's so gross that they truly do yearn for something on the opposite spectrum to help balance them out. And so, like you said, well, you're not going to find you know, well-to-do man who wants to have a real family structure to accept this type of lifestyle. So, your best bet is to find another porn star. And they understand that that guy's low vibrational and that can only last but so long. So they don't want that. Well, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. This is the lifestyle that you either consciously chose or subconsciously chose. Either way, you're living over there and you got to deal with that. And so, yeah, man, this is some absolute madness. And there are some super simps out there. Now, don't get it twisted. There's some super simps out there who make good money, who have fetishes themselves. And maybe a fetish of theirs is to actually be with a woman who sleeps with so many men. But at the same time, you're dealing with a man who has a low vibrational fetish. So it doesn't stop there with his weirdness. So yeah, he may have a well-to-do job. He may only deal with you sexually, but he's weird. And who else, what else is this guy susceptible of doing if he's signing up for this and he has a 9-to-5 and he wears a suit and tie? So, you are what you attract. And even if he is wearing a suit and tie, there is some level of depravity that man does have. So,
absolutely.
So one thing that this woman needs to do, if she wants to live this life and she wants to have a balanced lifestyle, then yeah, she already did a lot of dirt, but she has an uphill battle and an uphill climb of getting some internal work done in order for her to actually attract her reciprocal in that point. So yeah, man, sad business, bro. Sad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I concur with all of that. I just think that a lot of what you expressed is evident of the way that we're trying to make some of this stuff be appealing when it has its place. It's always had its place as you know, this is a subculture of Western society that just needs to remain a subculture, but is trying to be perverted into like a main cultural thing.
Right.
And so that's what you, yeah. And so that's what you get. Like the only thing that the last thing that I will say about this is I've mentioned often on these videos that I do believe that when it comes to women's expectations for relationships, men set the tone for that. So women only believe that they can acquire certain things relationally based upon the feedback and the reception that has been given to them by men. It's almost like a chick like this has been granted permission to believe that she can get a relationship despite what she does. That was something that was granted to her permissively by men. I don't know how many guys, but several men who have treated her in kind. And so my thing is, this all ties into what we talk about often when it comes to how crazy modern relationships have become, how we're basically operating in a state of complete and utter anarchy, where it's just the wild, wild west and rules don't apply because we just want to strip everything down. Everything needs to be deconstructed. If you want the balance of relationships to be restored, one of the things as a man that you can do is just understand the importance of living a more principled lifestyle. Like, just because your feeds tell you that it's socially acceptable to date a porn star, that doesn't make it true. So don't listen to it. Don't believe it. Like, if the idea of dating a porn star is something that you're seriously considering, then you perhaps need to reevaluate your approach to women in relationships, because that depravity that you just spoke of, that might be a reason as to why you're thinking that.
Right.
Sexual deviancy is something that you bring up often that is entirely valid, but these things don't have to play themselves out. It can remain a subculture, and it can keep women from thinking that they can do and act however they want and say whatever they want and do whatever they want for a living, but still be entitled to things that they otherwise ought not to be entitled to. A lot of that stuff comes from the reception that they get from men. Women merely acquiesce to what men give them. I've said it a million times and I'll continue to say it. Women don't just come out of the woodwork believing that they're entitled to certain things just, you know, on the surface. It's because they've been responded to in certain types of ways and within certain contexts that they develop these ideas about themselves. So in order to curtail that, there needs to be more guys like this gentleman who, you know, have a certain place for women like this, but otherwise don't necessarily look at them in a particular light that would lend themselves to being respectable wives and mothers. You know, and if there are not more guys who live by that code, and unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of guys who don't live by a code, which is, you know, a conversation perhaps for a different day. But the more guys that we got running around here who just don't live by a code and would wife porn stars and industry slores, and, you know, you want to get in, you'll get into a relationship with a woman like Larsa Pippen, for example, who has a long drawn out history of just dating industry hip hop and athlete dudes. Like, you set us back 30 years getting into relationships with women like this. It is what it is. You owe these women nothing. So do not allow yourself to be bullied into believing that you should accord women a certain standard or a modicum of dignity when it comes to relationships that they don't deserve for decisions that they made. You know, and we've talked about this stuff before, so we're kind of rehashing old territory, but it applies even in this particular situation, because there needs to be a greater coalition of men who say, I'm better than allowing my principles to devolve into a particular state of being in which I'm going to consider this for myself. When there's plenty of baddies and good-looking 8s, 9s, and 10s out there, women who don't do this stuff. And so just go talk to them. And furthermore,
go ahead.
No, and I was just going to say, and furthermore, if sex is the thing that you're hung up on, these women who don't do this stuff will do most of the same things that you want sexually that these porn chicks will do, but come with not nearly as much baggage. So just keep that in mind when you're out here doing this stuff, because trust and believe, the shock on that chick's face when she realized that this guy was serious, in part comes from she believes, she's convicted in her belief that she is deserving of functional relationships. And some of that in part comes from the fact that she's been told that by some men somewhere, some simps, some guys somewhere who just don't live by a code. And those are the guys who need to heed this type of message more than anything else.
Yeah, and she tried to play into some tropes in order to get him to bite. I'll cook for you, I'll clean for you. That's not what I want. I mean, yeah, those are great bonuses if on somebody that knows how to handle themselves and is balanced. But literally, you just finished performing oral sex on another man. And I'm supposed to sit here and eat dinner and act like everything's cool while I was just sitting at home and doing nothing. She's out of her mind.
Yeah.
And so, this is it's sad to see that. But she was hurt when he was saying what he was saying. It was a harsh pill, man. I was, tough to swallow. No pun intended. Yeah. Right. So she really did. She was like, "Damn, you really gonna say that to me?" And it's like, hey, a lot of us feel like this, woman. All right. Mm-hmm. And you can't believe everything in your comment sections. All right, because those guys in the comment section, all right, they have their own issues. All right. And, not to judge anybody that's watching this thing, man, because I watch stuff too. Mm-hmm. Not enough to create a profile name or an avatar or to leave a comment. So those guys that's in there leaving comments and gassing you up, that's another level of stuff where it's like, hey, newsflash, woman, wake up. And this was a splash of cold water in her face. All right. No pun intended. All right. She's used to taking splashes in the face, but this one here, this was not the kind that she's used to. So if there's, I'm pretty sure everybody here watching this doesn't agree with her lifestyle, like that. And, teach their own, but don't bring that around people who are trying to be balanced. Don't bring that around people that are trying to elevate themselves, have a strong foundational family. And things that make sense, because this type of depravity doesn't fit. It doesn't suit people who are actually trying to do something with themselves. So man, it's sad that people have to end up in that boat. Now, whatever circumstances led her to being over there, I can't call it, and I can't, none of that. It is what it is for her. But don't bring that over to people that are actually trying to do something with themselves, because that would only lower their vibration. So
agreed.
Wild stuff.
Wild stuff indeed. I would agree that most people don't agree with that lifestyle, but it's just these dudes out here. There's a lot of guys out here who just are becoming more and more accustomed to believing certain things are not a big deal anymore. Like, I'll date a porn star. And it's like, bro, I don't know where you're picking this up from. You need to get off of OnlyFans, put the OnlyFans down. You need to close the laptop. You know what I'm saying? Get off the tablet for a few hours, go outside, take a walk your dog, have a drink, go to a happy hour, because that's not where it's at. And that will never change. I don't care how progressive we become. That's never going to change.
Factual.
All right. That was good stuff, man. Good luck to you, Summer Isabella, and your burgeoning career.
Because you popping
good. Good luck. With that said, man, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. Next up.